Most agencies think their website is their biggest sales asset. But here's the truth: your capabilities deck does way more of the heavy lifting than your website ever will, and most agencies simply don't realize it. Every month you delay updating your capabilities deck, you're quietly losing deals that you should have won. So, if you're planning for a rebrand or website overhaul, I'm going to tell you something that goes against everything you've probably heard before. You should update your capabilities deck before you update your website, because your deck, not your website, is what prospects read, share, analyze, and use internally to decide whether you're going to get the job. So in this video, I'm going to show you why your capabilities deck is the true engine behind your sales and how it can keep your pipeline moving even when your website's under construction. And so agencies love rebrands. I talk to agency owners every week and I always hear, we're redoing our website. And I get it. Your website feels like the heart of your agency. You put so much time into it. But here's what's really going on in the agency world. Your website used to be where prospects evaluated you, but now it serves kind of more as a front line in the sales process, whereas your capabilities deck is the army behind that front line and what really gets you over the line in terms of winning the prospect. And I mean, here's a shift. Prospects are skimming websites, but they're reading decks, they're sharing decks. If there's a champion at a brand that wants to pitch you to their boss, they're not going to share your website, they're going to share your deck. And essentially your deck is the most requested, most shared sales asset, when it comes to figuring out whether they want to hire your agency for a job. It's the asset with the longest shelf life, the deepest engagement, the highest conversion power. It really just is what gets prospects over the line. And unfortunately, most agencies just treat it like a throwaway PDF. And, think about it like this. Why do prospects even ask for your deck when your website's already available online? So again, it's something that's super important. It's the most requested asset, and it's something that's really, really, really crucial to nail if you want to pitch and win more clients for your agency. And so this takes us into the real question. Why should you update your capabilities deck before your website? And reason number one is simple. Website updates can take months, 3 to 4 months, even longer, versus deck updates, which take days or hours to do. So, meanwhile, you're waiting for your website to be updated. You're pitching with outdated positioning. Prospects think you're behind, even if you're doing incredible work, because you haven't had time to get those new projects and new case studies up on your website. But when you start with your deck, the ROI is almost immediate. You can get, updated messaging, updated case studies, updated visuals into the deck, into the prospects in days, not months. If you finish a new project, add it today. If you're launching a new offer, you can update your messaging really quickly in an hour or so. And so this is how agencies can stay relevant and actively pitching even when their website is outdated. And so next, essentially your deck is just a better referral tool. It does a lot of things that your website can't. For one, it lets other people pitch you when you're not in the room. I found that when somebody's referring an agency, they prefer to share a deck, a solid 15 to 20 slides that really shows what your agency can do. It can be a leave behind. It can be a cool conversation starter that somebody can pull up. It has that shareable proof. And again, it's really the choreographed sales journey versus a website, which is kind of like a choose your own path version of what your agency does. So it's great because it just guides the prospect slide by slide through that sales journey. And so when somebody's referring you, it's just easy for them to share that to kind of get the point across as to why they're recommending you, why you should be hired. And again, it's just more succinct in a choreographed sales journey. So, you never know who's referring you. You never know who's going to see your deck or get eyes on your deck. And it's just generally a much better referral tool. 3, this is a big one. Your deck can stand in for your website temporarily. So if your website is outdated, if it's under construction, you can essentially just redirect your URL to your deck wherever it lives online. So we prefer online platforms like pitch.com or Canva, so that, you can have animations, video integrated, and all of the kind of multimedia that you would already have on a website. But you could also redirect your URL to a PDF as well. But essentially, there's no more having to be like, oh, our website's under construction, which can make you look a little bit unprofessional. You're still able to get all the information across to the prospect in a really beautiful, well-designed, multimedia-friendly presentation. One of my clients has done this. They redirected their website to their capabilities deck online for 3 months while their website was down. They were still consistently closing clients. So nothing really affected them as far as the website being down. There was no break in the sales process. And I mean, essentially prospects don't care where they're getting the information from about your agency. They just care whether you can do the job, and your deck has all the information they need. So this is just another great reason to focus on your deck first. Even if you're going to do a website rebrand, you can redirect your deck in the interim and just keep sales conversations flowing and make sure that prospects are able to still see your most updated information as they're navigating the sales journey with you. And so next, you can test pitch messaging. So this is a big one. I don't think a lot of agency owners understand how important it is to get messaging right in order to close deals. And so, your deck is essentially the fastest way to go about figuring out whether messaging converts, whether it's resonating with your prospects. And this, you can do this before you even spend $1 redesigning your website, which, honestly, obviously, website redesigns can be expensive. So, this is a great way to nail your positioning, nail your content, nail your case studies, nail everything before you kind of invest in that bigger website overhaul. And, a couple examples, you can test your value proposition. We like to include that on the cover page of your capabilities deck. So you can swap them out, test a few different ones, send them out to prospects, see which one is resonating the most. And, the one that has the most replies, the most positive feedback, that's your winner. That's what you can go with. You can test your service list. So maybe you have a couple different versions based on what services you think your prospects need the most. And again, see which ones are getting the best feedback, see which ones are really kind of lighting prospects up and getting them excited. And then that essentially can help define your offer and the core services that you lead with when you're going into different pitches. And one that I love, especially, is case studies. So one reason I love tools like Pitch and Canva is because you can kind of see analytics on the back end and look at what slides prospects are spending the most time on, which case studies are really resonating with them. And then essentially you can flag those and, not only prioritize them in your deck, but I mean, now what case studies you would want to feature on your website, and it can help inform that website build. So essentially your deck becomes this like simple, low risk testing ground. And all the winning messaging that you figure out by, testing these different versions of your deck can become the foundation of your new website. And so you have that research done again before you invest $1 in, redesigning your site. And so the final one is about personalization. And, essentially you can personalize your pitch to the prospect with your deck, something that you can't do with your website. And this could be, swapping case studies that really resonate with them, reordering services so that you're pitching, whatever services you think specifically would appeal to them, adding a custom intro slide or customization, like adding their logo or brand colors throughout, including even a video message embedded in the video, like a loom at the beginning, and or, a specific talking head video throughout the entire presentation where you're speaking specifically to them, their challenges, their problems. Another big one, including industry specific language or imagery throughout that, speaks specifically to their industry. And this is great for agencies that pitch across multiple industries. So again, making these little touches and these little changes, it makes the prospect feel like you were prepared, you care, you made this pitch just for them. And that really can help you close more deals. So this, again, just speaks to how important your capabilities deck is, how much more conversion focused it is than your website. And it's just a really, really great tool and something that, again, I encourage you to prioritize before your website for all the reasons I stated. It really can help you close more deals and help you create a better website for your agency, that's more powerful and that's going to resonate as well if that's where prospects end up, learning about your agency. And so if you want to make sure your capabilities deck can be this amazing tool that can stand in for your website and do all the other great things I talked about, check out this video. I walk you through slide by slide how to create the most compelling capabilities deck, what to put on each page, all the boxes you need to check in order to make sure that your deck is a tool that will increase your close rate, shorten your agency sales cycle, and make sure you come across as the most premium option.